Hello, it's very nice to be... And... you might as well be in London while you're being. Woo! A fantastic place. Cosmopolis. People from every corner of the earth, every creed, every religion, every culture come here to vomit in minicabs. Sometimes, you know, you might take it for granted, you see. You might get this notion that there's a better life for you elsewhere, because that's what happens to people. They get stressed out somewhere like this. They think, you know, we should, I don't know, go to the country, somewhere shire. It's a very bad idea. I grew up in the country. You don't want to go there. You've got everything here. You're not going to realize your dreams somewhere else. You can do it all here. You can be trapped in traffic in Tufnell Park for 20 years and you'll never have that experience anywhere else. You don't want to go to the country anyway. Most of you know nothing about it. You talk about it all the time, you read about it in Sunday supplements. You're never going to go. Why would you go? It's a disgusting place. It's always wet, even when it's dry. And there's nothing there. Farmers aren't really people. You know this. They're just necessary. We need somebody to kill cows. Cows are supposed to be killed, en masse as well. I have a certain, very limited sympathy with vegetarians. You know, I don't mind if you're vegetarian because you had an accident or something years ago. You fell down some steps and now you can't chew properly. I don't mind that. But, well, I'm vegetarian on principle stuff is wrong. You're supposed to eat the cows. They're big, lumbering, stupid things. They'd be everywhere if we didn't eat them. In the library and everything. Nobody actually wanted them originally, you know? They were just mid-conversation. They kept getting bumped into by these cretins going, I couldn't take it anymore. Give me a fucking fork. I'm going to deal with this. What people really want are squirrels, but they're too quick. Don't go to the country. When is the last time you spoke to somebody from the country? Would you ever have a conversation with these people? What did you do today? I had some soup. Oh, for fuck's sake. Give me a... Please, give me a cappuccino before I pass out. I need a mugger. I need a healthy injection of cynicism right now. And of course these people are friendly. Of course they are. They talk to you. They haven't spoken to a real person in years. And they bring you into the house and they dry all your clothes even though you're not been in the rain or anything and offer you the local thing. You must try the local stuff. Don't eat it. Do you know why it's local? It's shit. That's why it's local. When you eat it, you'll turn into one of them. You go red, you start spouting bigotry and eating tweed with lamb fat dribbling down your chin. Don't go near any of that stuff. People say, I'm going to go, it'll be great, we'll have a solar panel toilet, we'll get the whole family thatched. Rubbish. And then you get these articles about how unhealthy modern life is in a city. You know, you get mobile phone tumors, far more likely in the city. Well, you know what, so is everything else, including sex, coffee, and conversations. The conversations are totally different as well there. You're sophisticated people. You meet up every 9 months to have a coffee with somebody and bitch about your best friend who's not there. I hate them more than you do. Here they come. Hi, how are you? Do you want a Nimbicino? And in the countryside, because there's nothing to do, you know what people do there? They go to each other's houses, they come to your house and drink tea all fucking day. They crawl for 12 miles to come and drink tea. Because there's nothing else to do. And what people do there, it has its own kind of native hostility, you know. They bring out all the food in the house and put it in front of that person and say, there, eat that. Because if you don't put on a good spread, you'll be ill-spoken of in the village. So people bring out 19 different kinds of potatoes, sheets of ham, waves of ham. You take a bite out of the middle, you save yourself the price of a poncho. They put it in front of that person, and they say, fucking eat that. And they stay there all day. Eat everything you have, drink everything you have, and they never know when to go. You know, they're not sophisticated. They sit there. You're there 1 o'clock in the morning with the grandfather clock between your pajamaed knees, staring at the motherfucker saying, please, go home. You end up saying terrible things. Look, we drank everything in the house. I don't think that minicab is coming. I know we had 8 or 9 bottles of wine and half a bottle of whiskey, but I think you should drive. I do. I will personally sellotape your hands to the wheel. Get in the fucking car, go away from here, please. And then, you know, there's the extreme version of that idea of escape. People think they'll emigrate, and that's it. The new life will be somewhere else, much better than here. I can't take it anymore. And where would you go? People fling themselves all over the planet. People end up in Australia. Why would anybody want to go there? What is the point of that country? I usually never leave the house, but we all went to Australia recently. The whole family. It was a ridiculous place. Located 3/4 of a mile from the surface of the sun. People audibly crackling as they walk past you on the street. That's why they all barbecue. You don't need to cook somewhere like that. You just bring the shit out, fling it on a grill, and it bursts into flames. It's not supposed to be inhabited, and when they're not doing that, frying themselves outside, they all fling themselves into the sea, which is inhabited almost exclusively by things designed to kill you. Sharks, jellyfish, swimming knives, they're all in there. And then, you know, where else? This is the new world, you know, and the other part of the new world is America. People think that's got a lot of promise. Still, even though we're all a bit funny about Americans now, a bit. I think the reason that happened, all that bad feeling about America, is apart from everything that they've done. It's because American stupid people sound stupider than every other kind of stupid person. Some people are just thick, but you put up with them. But Americans are annoying when they're thick, because they say, well, you know, if they're talking about one of those terrible incidents that happen every other day in America, they say, well, you know, I was there, and the guy came in, and he had, like, a gun, you know, and he was, like, shooting, and everybody else was totally dead. And you just, it sounds a little divorced from reality somehow. So I think that's why there's this ill feeling about the place sometimes, because of everything the administration has done. You know, it's like the really bad flatmate of the world. Oh, sorry, did I break all your shit? I didn't know it was yours. Yeah, I'll replace it sometime. With my stuff. And because it's the only remaining empire, of course. You had an empire once. Britain had a great empire. And impressively commandeered and sequestered from the rest of the world. With great style. You just marched in and said, you and you, fuck off, we're having tiffin. And everybody sort of went, oh, right, I'm going to be off now, that's fine. And it took centuries for people to go, hang on a minute, we live here. The American style is totally different, far more insidious. This empire is run on a totally different basis. What America does is it has a nosy in some place, some war-torn, fucked-up place, and that looks for oil or chocolate or whatever it wants. And all the indigenous people obviously get pissed off, and they begin to meet. They begin to foment. They ring each other up and say, you, Habuwa, let's meet and foment at 6 o'clock. In the local bombed-out cafe, they gather round and they say, what are we I'm doing a pan-global accent, okay? It saves time, because America gets around a lot of places. And this represents poverty. Hey, listen. Hi. Haguga, listen. What are we going to do about the fucking imperialistic Yankee big dog, huh? What are we going to do? They come in here, they look around, they take our stuff. What are we going to... I'm talking to you. Put down the beans. Listen, what are we going to do? It's kind of Al Pacino from China via Brooklyn. But the... And then what America does, while these people are talking, it very, very gradually builds a Starbucks around them. And then they all become addicted to latte and they lose the will to rebel. And then they turn into Americans. After a couple of weeks, the kind of people who come up to me and say, hi, I'm Irish. My grandmother was an O'Flaherty, did you know her? I always say, yes, I did. But then again, everybody did. Now that's a particular kind of American, obviously, the kind of Americans you see in Europe, who often, for some reason, seem to be very generously proportioned. And you see them in museums, blocking up the exhibits, going, what is this? Can we eat it? Where are we? Can we pee? Where are we? And yet, when you go to America, you see that it's a very, very, because it's so competitive and everything, people are ultra-fashionable and very thin, really. I think the Americans you see in Europe are all the ones who stay in their apartments, get food piped in, and then they're just shipped out to Europe. But the ones over there, you see these amazing-looking people. They don't look real at all, these incredibly exiguous women. You know those people who look like they can't support the weight of their own teeth in their head? Stalking in and out of fashionable restaurants. I don't know what they do in there. Maybe they just rub pesto on their legs or something. And you know, they look like they weigh as much as a photograph of themselves. And very fashion conscious. But people have this idea that it's still the promised land. You know, somewhere like California, which everything is fruitful and abundant. But Arnold Schwarzenegger is the governor of California. There's a perfectly ordinary English sentence. How did that happen? Do you know how that happened? Because I'll tell you. You know how he got into that position? He got there by lifting things. Now you and me, we avoid lifting things. It's unpleasant. Especially heavy things. Even a 5-year-old child knows this. They go, huh? No, fuck it, no. I'm going to put Lego up my arse. I'm not doing that, no. He took a different approach. He lifted the heavy, and you know, you lift something when you have to. Piano falls on Granny. You lift the piano. Because Granny has mixed feelings about the whole situation. Sunday lunch continues. He didn't do any of that. He went right over to the heavy thing and lifted it and put it back down and didn't move it anywhere. And then he lifted it again, hundreds of times, and said to the people who had stopped to observe this aberrant behavior, look how good I am at lifting the heavy thing in my underpants. Now that sounds a little dim. But it was they who said, you're the man. You're the one we want to deal with immigration and water rates and taxes and all that kind of shit. Now, wait. What we need to know is, how bad was his predecessor at that job? You know, this must have been somebody who came to work covered in children's blood every morning. He drives one of these vehicles, you know these things, they're called Hummers, you know? It's like a big four-wheel drive thing. Huge. How small does your cock have to be to make you walk into a car showroom and say, listen, I need something the size of a school so people know I'm around? As if driving wasn't already aggressive enough. You see people behind the wheels of these things. They change, you know, in those big built-up vehicles. You have them here in London, you know, because it's difficult. Obviously, the coffee is on one side of the street and you have to get your newspaper from the other. It's tough, I know. And people change to get behind the wheel of those things. They lose the ability to distinguish between an empty packet of crisps and your children. And driving is incredibly aggressive. I started to learn recently, I don't know